Welcome back to Success is Made. Are you tired of spending a lot of money on hiring digital artists or designers to create logos for your business? Well, then you will love today's experiment. In this video, I'm going to test if we can use MidJourney version 4 to create a professional logo for our business. As you know by now, with MidJourney, you can easily transform simple text input into stunning artwork without breaking the bank. Even more so, it's free for the first couple of jobs. Now, if you have used MidJourney before or you have watched any of my other videos, you know that creating anything that involves letters or even text can be challenging. So in this tutorial, we'll use MidJourney to try and create a stunning logo for one of my own business ideas. So without further ado, let's dive right in and put MidJourney version 4 to the test. But before you do, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join our community of VP entrepreneurs for more exclusive tips and tutorials on how to grow your online business. MidJourney version 4 allows you to transform your text input into fantastic artwork. If you have used MidJourney before, you know it's quite challenging to get the exact outcome that you had in mind. But if you have worked with creative teams or people for your business in the past, you know that this is always a challenge, AI or not. So in this video, we'll use simple text input to create a beautiful logo for one of my ideas, which is called VP MultiMedia. So today we'll put MidJourney AI to the test to see how we can use the tool to create a professional logo for us. Whenever I need a new logo, I either go to Fiverr or Upwork, or I contact someone in my network to create a logo for me. But now we have MidJourney, and this tool can create anything. So let's test if we can find the right prompts to create a professional logo for us. So the business we need a logo for is called VP MultiMedia. So to have a logo with the right letters, VP, and then also the word multimedia, is probably way too challenging because it can hardly get a few letters right. But we'll give it a try, and if it doesn't work, we can always go for VP and afterwards add multimedia. But let's see what happens. So first, we start with /imagine. And let's try the prompt professional logo for a company called VP Multimedia. And I also want to include the brand colors black and blue, and I want to have a silver lining around the letters. So let's see. Professional logo for a company called VP Multimedia in colors blue, black, and a metallic lining. High detail, very high resolution. So professional logo for a company called VP Multimedia in the colors blue, black, and a metallic lining. High detail, very high resolution. Let's see what happens. Here we go. It's generating 4 different logos. And I already see that some of these are actually usable. So again, it's only at 62% of generating these images. But there is a VP here, and there's VP here. And I really like this one. If we would zoom in to this one, you can see that there is all kinds of weird text here and here. And that is not what I'm looking for. And the other two as well. So this is more like a W, weird text here and text here. And this one has only a V and also text here that I didn't ask for. So I think the only one that we can potentially use is the second one. The different options you have in MidJourney are to upscale the image. You do that with U and then the number of the image. So it goes like clockwise. It goes from this one to this one to this one to this one. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I want to upscale the second one, I click U2. If I want to have new variations of the second one, to see what it comes up with next, I can go to V variation 2. And then it will give you 4 new variations of the second one. So let's try that first. So it's now at 55%. It's generating new images that look very similar to the original image that it created. And you can see here that one of the 4 has some letters here that we didn't ask for. But this one is usable, this one is usable, and this one is usable. Let's see if we zoom in a little bit, which one is worth downloading in more detail. They're very, very similar. You can see that there are some differences, especially here. It messed up the P somehow here. I do like this one somehow. And now I can again have MidJourney create 4 different variations of this one. Let's try that. So V4. There we go. So this went very fast and smooth, I have to say. And I very much like this one. So what I do is I upscale number 2. if I click on this and I open it in the browser, here is the large render of the text. And now if I zoom in, I do not like this part of the P here. This doesn't look finished and there's some weird stuff going on here. Closing this, looking at the images again, and see if there's one that is more complete. Upscale number 2. And it is done. Clicking on this and opening in browser. And here we see a beautiful render of VP. And I really like this. So what I'll do is I'll save the image. Let's see if there's some other version that I would like to have a high resolution render of. And I also like number 3. So I'll upscale number 3 before we lose it. Clicking on it, opening in browser. And here's the high detail render. Saving this too. And now what I'll do is to try to get a completely different version. So closing this, and I will refresh the original prompt and see what it comes up with. Okay, here we go. We have 4 different versions, and the only one that has actually VP in the logo, which is one of my requirements, is the third one, but it also has weird text in here. And it also looks a bit too Roman to me. So there's not really a version that I can actually use. Let's look at the prompt. Let's see if we can improve something. Professional logo for a company called VP MultiMedia. So let's go for /imagine, and the prompt is logo for a company called, and let's remove multimedia here, logo for a company called VP in the colors blue, black, and metallic. And let's change this into silver. High detail, very high resolution. And also change this into, let's see if we can get a square logo for a company called VP in the colors blue, black, and silver. High detail, very high resolution. Okay, let's see what happens. So it's rendering 0%, 31%, 62, and it's done. The only one with VP is number 1 and number 3. And I very much like the third one, but let's see if it's actually usable. And I think it is. Let's see if we can use these. I really like this one, but I would have loved it to be just from the front. I also like this one. I very much like this one, by the way, but the same here. I would like it to be frontal, and these two are nice as well. Okay, let's see if we can generate the same logo by giving the prompt, imagine frontal square logo. Let's see if this works. As I said in the introduction, the alternative is, of course, that you ask someone on Fiverr to create a logo for you. So if you go to Fiverr and you type in logo design, you have minimalist, you have hand-drawn, vintage, all kinds of types of logo. And then Fiverr searches the right seller or person to create it for you. And that's, of course, also an option. MidJourney is not free. The first 20 prompts or so are free. And after that, you have to pay. You have to have a subscription. But in this case, a professionally made logo by a professional. If you want to have a good one, it is around $50. That's where it starts. Of course, you see here 25, you see 35. But if you click on them, you see that if you want to have the rights to the logo, you end up with a price of around $50 to $100. So I heard the sound that it's done. Let's see what it made out of this. It's very almost classic, right? All these old ornaments. Let's see if we can remove that. And that, I think that is because of the silver detail. I don't like these. I like this one, but it doesn't show the P. So what I'll do is I'll change the prompt and ask for a very simple, very simplistic logo. Simple square logo for a company called VP in the colors blue, black, and silver. Remove high detail, because I think that MidJourney takes the very high detail and turns it into these leaves and waves and whatever this is. What you have to keep in mind is that if you ask AI to create a logo for you, as of now, you cannot trademark register these because AI is not considered to be an artist. Here again, you can see the weird text that I didn't ask for. Let's try again and to see if we can create a logo that does not have the weird text. I also don't really need the square logo, so it can be any shape or form. A simple company logo for a company called VP in colors blue, black, and silver. High resolution. Let's see if it can work with the command no text, but it could of course be that it then also leaves out the V and the P that I really need to have in the logo. And now we get into the superhero territory, and this is way too classic. This is not what I'm looking for. So let's try again. So let's lose the silver part. Imagine I'm taking a simple company logo for a company called VP in colors blue, black. Remove silver. It doesn't really include, oh, it does include the text. And it does include the text here, but in 3 out of the 4, oh, this is also of course text. 2 out of the 4 there is no text, so somehow what's happening here? And I think we now have proved that it doesn't do anything with the command no text. Because we have 4 options here, and 4 of them have the weird text in there. So I looked it up online, and it seems that if you do not use the word logo, but identification symbol, it might leave out the text in most of the cases. So let's see. Imagine simple company logo, company identification symbol for a company called VP. Let's put silver back in. No text, we can remove that because it doesn't work anyway. Also remove simple and just turn it into identification symbol for a company called VP in colors blue, black and silver. So let's see what happens. It's doing something and it's not including the P, but I do like them. Let's see if we can force in the letter P by copying this and not use VP as one term, but using the V and P. So identification symbol for a company identified as a V and P. And I'm a bit hesitant to add in the term letters because it will add different letters back in, I expect. So let's see what it does with this. It's at 62%. And it doesn't include a P as well. And my conclusion from this experiment is that if you ask MidJourney or you use MidJourney to create something that includes letters or words, it is very difficult to do. I like this style, but it doesn't include the P. The P is important for me in this case. And this is way too generic, right? Just a V could be anything. So I'll try one more prompt. Imagine identification symbol for a company called VP in colors blue, black, and silver. Let's try identification mark. If this doesn't work out, I will use the previously created logo with VP and add multimedia in there myself with other tools that I have at my disposal. And now it's generating, there's one with VP in there. And now that it is done rendering, you can see that there's some symbols here. But these are not really letters, but more symbols that make it look very mysterious. So I do like it. What I suggest is that I ask MidJourney to create a high resolution render. And now we have 2 different versions that we can use for the logo. So what I can do is I can ask for more variations of this logo and see if it creates one without text in there. So here are 4 variations. And I did notice something else. So if you zoom in, you can see that the P in this corner here looks just cut off. Makes it look fake, like it was just copied and pasted in here, like the P here. You can, of course, always go to Fiverr and ask someone to just erase this. Keep the glow in here because I really like it. And fix somehow this or add new letters there. And that way you only use the image created by MidJourney as inspiration for an actual artist out there. But it doesn't really make sense because it is pretty much double work. All of them have the text around the logo. But at least the weird thing between the V and the P is solved. So what I should do is see, here are some holes in the metal. Here are some bolts or screws or whatever is in there. I do not really like this. This one is also a bit weird. I think from these 4, I like these 3 most. Let's see what happens if I upscale number 3. I already gave up on my hope to have a logo that says VP and multimedia in one logo. But to get something with just the letters VP and nothing else is pretty difficult, as you can see. There's the sound that MidJourney is done rendering the image, and I do like it. But again, there's weird text around. And the final one, I'll ask it to upscale this one. There we go. And as you can see, there's the same weird thing between the letters. I'll save this anyway. We now have 5 versions. 2 of them are very much the same, and the other 3 are very much the same. From these 3, I like the 3rd one the most, this one. And from the other 2, I think I like this one the most. So it's this one and this one. So now what I do is, so here's version number 1, making this a little bit bigger. And what I'll do is I'll improve it a little bit by increasing the saturation so it pops a bit more. Okay, and then we add increasing the outline a little bit. And what I would like to have is the letters to not blend in with each other, but have them slightly, there we go. If the background would be black, and make the outline white. So that's number one, and here's number two. Included in the word multimedia is time, and I tried to use that fact in this logo. Version number one, version number two. What I often do in cases like this, I have two options here, and I'll show this to some friends of mine to finally decide which of these two logos I will use. And there you have it. This is how you create a professional logo for your business without hiring an expensive digital artist. So if this video was helpful for you, please let me know and consider subscribing to Success is Made. I upload a new video on one of my channels every single week. And if you sign up for the newsletter, you join the community of VP entrepreneurs, and you get free tips and tools to start and grow your online business. And as always, I thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in the next video. To your success. Bye.